It is now official. Breaking news. Devin Haney to face Golden Boy's Joseph JoJo Diaz Jr. December 4th. And I'm going to talk about that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Reach one, teach one. Throw a like on the video. Devin Haney, he posted this post. It says, ending the year with a bang. December 4th, let's go. Devin Haney Promotions, Matchroom, DAZN, hashtag The Dream. These sentiments have also been mirrored by his promoter, Eddie Hearn, so you know it's real. Eddie Hearn said, let's go. What a fight. Devin Haney versus Joseph JoJo Diaz. December 4th, MGM Grand, Las Vegas live, exclusive on DAZN. And Joseph JoJo Diaz, I believe, also posted it on his gram. So, let's see. JoJo Diaz said it's official, December 4th, Las Vegas, MGM Grand Garden Arena. Looking forward to this fight. I think this is a great fight. Now, I did report about this yesterday, so make sure you guys stay tuned to my channel for the latest and greatest. I knew this was coming down the pipeline, and it's been a little bit of time coming, but as I mentioned in yesterday's video, when you have the negotiations that aren't done in public, that usually yields the best results. What I mean is, when you see a negotiation and it's all over the gram, all over the Twitter, every waking moment, every deal point, every, stipulation, and that's already being put out to the public, that's how you collapse the deal. Or, usually I've seen in those cases, it's harder to get those deals done, and or they just fold and don't happen. So it's good to see that Devin Haney, his persistence and insistence in fighting a big name has paid off. This is back-to-back fights where he's taken major steps in the right direction in terms of class. There's nothing you can say wrong. See, this is the part where old media is trapped. There's nothing you can say bad about this fight with Devin Haney because, one, JoJo Diaz, even though he did lose to Gary Russell Jr., what has he done since then? He has rebounded his whole career, stayed focused, stayed to the mission, and one loss is not going to define you, or even a few losses, depending on how you respond to them. So JoJo Diaz has worked his way back up to the ladder, worked his way back up the rankings. I got to give props to JoJo Diaz because he said he would fight him, and the Ryan Garcia fight looked like it presented itself. And when that fell apart and collapsed because Ryan Garcia went from anxiety to hand issues and revealed he wasn't fighting for the remainder of the year, you got to give props to Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya and JoJo Diaz for not holding back their fighter and making this fight happen. Now, I'm just going to say this briefly, but I do think that Golden Boy's hand was forced in the equation because when Eddie Hearn met the demands that were already present and matched the pay, there's really no reason to steer your fighter away from it. He's the mandatory. Devin Haney's been calling for a big name. JoJo said he wants the big names. You were going to make the in-house fight with Ryan Garcia, but then he couldn't stay healthy to make sure that came into the fold. So there was really, when Ryan Garcia withdrew from another fight, there was really no reason not to fight Devin Haney. You'd have to get real creative to try to find a way out to explain and express why the WBC mandatory JoJo Diaz was not fighting Devin Haney in the event that Ryan Garcia wasn't able to fight for the remainder of the year. It's not like Ryan Garcia was like, oh, I injured myself in sparring, I'll be good in a couple of weeks and I could fight in December. He's talking about he's not coming back until 2022. So it really would have made no sense to stall out JoJo Diaz. So I am of the belief that Golden Boy's hand was forced. It's a good opportunity for a title, and then the money was matched, and you're the mandatory, so it just satisfies too much to make the deal. Nonetheless, I digress. I'm just glad the fight's happening. This is going to be a nice little stretch in or around that division. You have Eddie Hearn kind of caught a second win with a couple fights, George Camboso and Teofimo Lopez, because Triller defaulted and didn't put up the fight in the adequate time, so they defaulted, end up losing money with Teo. Then Eddie Hearn is the runner-up bidder, so rematch room, they're gonna try their hand at it. And then about a week later, you're going to have Tank Davis fighting. And right before that, you have Devin Haney fighting against JoJo Diaz. So it's going to be quite the little stretch. We got a lot of, as boxing fans, we got a lot of fights to look forward to. Canelo Alvarez, he's fighting this weekend against Caleb Plant. That's an undisputed big fight. And then it's Stephen Fulton. We got a lot of good fights coming up, man. So I'm happy for that. I'm really happy for Devin Haney. He's a testament that if you stay true to what your visions are and what your mission is, it can happen. It may not happen when you want it to happen, but he stayed with it, he stuck with it, and that stick-with-itness is what got him these fights, because he's been calling for a major fight and people wouldn't see him. Now, I will say this in closing. Ryan Garcia, this puts him in such a pickle, and I'll talk about this in more and more in future videos, but the reason I'm saying that it puts Ryan Garcia in a bad position in Golden Boy is because Devin Haney is a supreme talent, so we'll have to see what happens with JoJo Diaz. But if he defeats JoJo Diaz and retains his title, then that's going to put pressure on for Ryan Garcia, because even though Ryan Garcia is coming out and saying he had a hand injury and surgery, the pressure is going to be on him to fight Devin Haney, and there's already been a pressure for him to fight Devin Haney. So they were trying to make this buffer fight with Ryan Garcia and JoJo Diaz. Now Devin Haney has the opportunity to try to take out the guy that Ryan Garcia was going to fight, and that's another reason why old media is in a pickle, and they're not going to be able to make excuses for why this is not a good fight, because this is the same opponent that Ryan Garcia was going to fight at the Staples Center, and everybody seemed to love it on boxing Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook groups. Everybody loved the fight when it was Ryan Garcia versus JoJo Diaz. So don't switch up and change your tune now. Keep that same energy. So Ryan Garcia, this puts him in a bad spot, because I really believe there's going to be an immense pressure for Ryan Garcia to fight the winner of this fight, be it Devin Haney or JoJo Diaz. And if JoJo Diaz, for his part, if he's good enough to beat Devin Haney, then that means it's a real dangerous fight for Ryan Garcia. And then if Devin Haney is who a lot of people think he is, and he defeats and retains his title, then Ryan's gonna have to see Devin Haney. So the walls are closing in for Ryan Garcia, but more on that in future videos. That's why you guys gotta hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Let me know how I did in this video. That's the latest news. Look forward to this fight and the closing of this year with a lot of great fights. Let me know what you guys think. Devin Haney, JoJo Diaz, who wins? As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. Sign off. And I'm out. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.